like, whoa, that's cool. And then another thing happens. I'm like, okay, that's kind of not good.
Hey everybody, this video does once again bring us down here into the library because I've got some more reviews for you. Now, you might be thinking, didn't you decide to kind of do reviews on their own, like just one review video per movie you watch? And the answer is yes, I was going to do that, but once you've been doing YouTube for a while, you start to realize there are things that work and things that don't really work when it comes to videos, and I had a fear that if I were to do that, it would drop some views down, meaning I put up a video, normally my normal daily video goes up at noon, people watch that video, and then I would put up like a review video at midnight, and then noon the next day I'd put up another video, so now I kind of have like 3 videos fighting for airtime, and not everybody's watching all 3 of them, and it caused issues. So not gonna do that anymore because the videos just weren't getting as many views because again, they were all like 3 videos were kind of fighting for time, and then videos were just sort of piling up on top of each other, and it was not a good thing, so it was not working. So unfortunately, I'm not gonna do that, but I am gonna go back to doing just some reviews like this, just a bunch of reviews all in one video for you guys. So let's do it. Now, I am very, very far behind on these reviews. We're talking Parasite's the first thing I'm going to review. Yeah, we're that far behind. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos, and I'm not caught up. So maybe I'll do a couple of these videos, like maybe like every couple of days until I get caught back up to where I am now, because the major issue is trying to remember every one of these movies. Like, okay, I know I watched this movie. What did I actually think about it? That was like 2 months ago. So, yeah, probably gonna try to get myself caught back up. We're gonna go through like 10 titles today. So, all right, let's dive in. Let's see what I've not recently been watching. Stuff from like 2 months ago. We'll check that out. So, all right, here's my my thoughts on stuff I should have told you about a long time ago. Alright, so like I said, the first movie up here is Parasite, which, yeah, I loved. It was a great movie. Really enjoyed this one. However, it blows my mind that just this movie got so much hype and praise. It's good. It's really good. It deserves to be talked about. It deserves to be watched and loved, and it deserves praise. It's a great, great film. But I've seen not a ton of Korean movies, but I've seen enough to know that this kind of feels like a Korean movie. It has that that flow and that feel and that style and that look and that way, that uneasy feeling that some of those movies do. I've seen many movies that kind of gave me the same feelings this movie gave me. Yes, it was a different and unique story. It's not like I'm saying it's the same story that I've seen before, but it's a movie that gave me the same feelings that I've seen in other Korean movies before. So I wouldn't say this movie just like blew me out of the water. I watched it and thought that was great, very, very good movie, but it wasn't anything like overly amazing, like not to the point where I just wanted to shout this movie from the rooftops. Again, I would recommend it. I would say you should watch it. Fantastic story, very interesting story, although after like I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but something happens with the brother, and then something happens with the sister, and as soon as something happened with the sister, I already knew where the story was going. I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, there were some twists and turns and some things I didn't know was going to happen, but the kind of the main plot of the movie I sort of saw coming at that point. But still, good movie. Definitely check it out. Again, doesn't quite deserve the praise and whatnot that it's getting. To an extent, yes, but if you like this movie, watch some more Korean movies, because I think all the people out there who like really just overly praise this movie, maybe they just haven't watched enough Korean movies, because I think if they had, maybe they would realize that even though this is a fantastic movie, there are other movies out there that give you a similar sort of feeling and have a similar sort of style to them. But regardless, still, it's great, it's fantastic. Whether you like Korean movies or not, watch it. Yes, it's all in subtitles, so you're not going to be able to, I mean, unless you unless you speak the language, you're gonna have to do some reading, but my wife hates subtitle movies, and she watches with me, and she loved it. So Parasite, check it out. It was awesome. It was fantastic. It really does deserve praise, but just maybe not quite as much. All right, next up was It Chapter 2, and going into this, I had heard that it was good, but not nearly as good as Chapter 1, and I would completely agree with those reviews I heard. It was good. I enjoyed this movie, and if you've seen the first one, then you've got to see the second one, and it's good enough that you're going to want to actually see this. But like I said, it wasn't quite as good as the first one, because the first movie, in my opinion, had some real good, genuine scares. I mean, it's not very often I watch a modern-day horror movie, and I'm legitimately scared and not wanting to get off the couch, and Chapter 1 had me scared at points. It was great and very creepy and a fantastic movie, great atmosphere, and I loved everything about the first movie for the most part. The kids were great in the first movie, had kind of like a Stand By Me sort of feeling. I mean, Stephen King's really good at writing stories about kids coming together. I think he's great at that. So you take, kids coming together plus the horror element. I mean, it's kids coming together, Stephen King, and horror Stephen King. You put those together, I mean, it's a fantastic mashup. So the first movie is great. I really like it. This one with the kids now grown up and they're adults, it's not as good, feels a little bit more like standard horror movie, if you will, but it's still well done. It still is well written and a fantastic story in of itself. And if you like the kids, you might like this movie because there are a lot of flashbacks. They kind of retell you the first movie, like verbatim. I mean, it's kind of weird how they kind of just go over the entire first movie again. I don't know why they do that. They could have just cut that out and made this movie a little bit shorter. Not that I thought the movie was too long. I know some people did. I didn't mind the length of it, but how they cut out all those flashbacks that were kind of unnecessary, maybe would have brought down the runtime a little bit, and maybe made the movie better, possibly? I don't know. Still, I loved it. It was great. So if you've seen the first one, you haven't got around to seeing Chapter 2 yet, check it out. It was great. I love both chapters. Just the first one is a heck of a lot more better, but still, well done. Ends better than the miniseries. Now, I never read the book because I don't read early movie drafts, so I don't know if this movie or the miniseries, which one's closer to the way the book actually ends, but I didn't really care for the way the miniseries ended. I mean, yes, they end similar, it's the same story, but I thought they did the ending better in this movie. It didn't feel as just stupid. I thought the ending for the miniseries was just, I don't know, it just seemed dumb. I watched that miniseries and I get all excited until we get up to the ending and I'm like, oh god, that's right. No. This movie I thought was better. So yeah, if you don't like the miniseries ending, at least this one does it in a better way. So It Chapter 2, yeah, see this. Then I checked out Can You Ever Forgive Me? Some Melissa McCarthy. I had heard going into this movie that it was a great role that Melissa did because she's not playing her normal wacky self, and I completely disagree. This is, if you take Melissa McCarthy's, wild, crazy, ranting, making fun of everybody and being kind of a jerk, character that she tends to always play in every one of her comedies. I mean, she's always the same character. She's over the top, again, kind of a jerk. Again, like I said, rants and makes fun of people and stuff like that. It's funny the first 15 times I saw it, and now I'm kind of sick of it. It's the same character, just if the character was real. Like, in the sense that her comedy characters are usually so crazy and over the top. It's like, okay, nobody, there are people out there who are jerks, but nobody acts quite like that. That's jerk to an extreme that, nobody does. This is, jerk in a normal level. She plays she's a horrible, rotten person in this movie. She does not treat people very well, and watching this, I felt, okay, it's the typical Melissa McCarthy character that she plays in her comedies, just if it was an actual normal person. Now, this is based on a true story, and the story's great, by the way. It's one of those stories of somebody digging themselves just deeper and deeper and deeper into a hole that they are just not gonna get themselves out of. And so if you like that kind of thing, you're really going to enjoy this because, it's fun to see her do something that she kind of gets away with at first. And you're like, okay, and then she decides to do it again and again and again. She keeps getting away with it, and then to the point where she's just dug herself so deep that it's not gonna go well. And yeah, it was a fantastic story, and again, all based on a true story as well. They even throw in some little facts at the end of the movie, which were crazy. So definitely read those when they pop up. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. I know I'm kind of saying like bad things, where I'm kind of like, oh, it's Melissa McCarthy just sort of playing her character again. And yes, kind of, but I at least like seeing that character in a more kind of down to earth sort of style, and the story just in of itself was really good too. So yeah, this was a fantastic movie. I actually really did like this one. I would highly recommend this one. So if you're if you're not the biggest fan of Melissa McCarthy, you don't like her her movies, you don't like the character she plays, even though I just told you that she's still kind of playing that same character, it's done in a different way that makes it more enjoyable. So if you're not a fan of her comedies, if that's not something you like, if you don't like the way you don't like her style of comedy, her big, bold craziness, you don't like that, then watch this one. I would say it's actually worth checking out. So you might enjoy this one because, like I said, she tones it down a bit. It's more down to earth. She's still a jerk and still like being a horrible person like in other movies, but just not in such a big, bold, crazy way. So yeah, Can You Ever Forgive Me? Yeah, see this one. So the next movie I can't actually physically hold up and show you because I don't own a physical copy of it yet. One of you guys were nice enough to send me a digital copy of this movie, and I had to watch it because I was really interested in seeing this movie, and that was Dr. Sleep, the sequel to Stephen King's The Shining, which I was like, okay, I knew this book and this story existed. I knew there was a book out there called Dr. Sleep that was the sequel to The Shining, but I just thought, how could it be even remotely as good? Because The Shining, in my opinion, is just like one of Stephen King's, if not Stephen King's, like best. I mean, as far as, again, I don't read early movie drafts. I don't read books. But as far as movies are concerned, that is like top notch. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Stanley Kubrick's best movie, in my opinion. I just absolutely love The Shining. So, going into it, I hadn't really heard anything about it. Hadn't heard if it was good or bad. So I went into it completely fresh, and but I did have in the back of my mind that there's no way this is going to be even remotely as good. It can't be. The first movie is so superior and so fantastic and just so brilliant. It's not going to hold up. And I was completely blown away by how good this movie was. I could not believe how great that they pay such an homage to The Shining. I mean, it really does feel like a true sequel. There are some movies out there that are like, oh, it's the sequel to this movie, and you're like, all right. Like, you see that they're kind of trying to, play off the first movie, but this one, it felt like a true continuation. They like rebuilt the lodge again, and oh my gosh, it was so fantastic. I mean, the story is very different. It's not, and that's the thing too, it's not the same story over again, which I was kind of worried about. That like, okay, what is this, just going to be, The Shining 2.0? It's going to be, the same story or a very similar story once again. And it was not. It had a very different feeling, a very different story, but it worked so well. Everybody in this movie was fantastic. They got, they didn't get original actors back. They got other people to play these characters from the first movie, to like in flashbacks, and people playing ghosts and stuff like that. And they were great. Like, there were times where like for a brief second I was like, oh, that's not so and so, but like 2 seconds into it I already forgot, and I was just like, okay, that's that's this character, that's that character. Just again, amazing. So I would say out of all the more recent movies I've seen as of recently, the stuff from the past like couple years, this is one of my favorite movies I've watched in the last couple of years. I mean, in my opinion, I would say this should have won, Best Picture of the Year or something, maybe even. It was that good. Because it's not very rare, or it's not very often. It is rare. It's not very often I watch a movie that I'm just like, wow, that was so good. Like, I mean, I watch movies that like I'm like, okay, I kind of assumed that movie was going to be pretty good, or yeah, it was great. But just every now and then I watch something that truly just blows me away, and that is what Dr. Sleep did. So if you haven't seen Dr. Sleep, yeah, see it. Watch The Shining first. If you for some reason you haven't seen one of the greatest horror movies ever made, The Shining, watch it. It's fantastic. And then watch Dr. Sleep and just prepare to be amazed. So Dr. Sleep, yeah, 110%. I recommend this movie. Then I watched kind of a weird one, Youth. I had no idea what this was going into it. This was okay. It's these older people at a like a retreat where it's not just old people. So you would think maybe it's a retreat for older folks, but no, there's a lot of younger folks as well who just walk around naked. So lots of nudity, folks. If nudity is your thing, Youth is your movie. That was kind of weird out of play. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, kind of a weird movie. But it's these two older people trying to come to I guess terms with their age and what's going on, and what they're I'm trying to how to even explain it. This movie is weird. It's just even trying to think of how to explain this movie. I'm like, I guess they're kind of trying to come to terms with like where they are in their lives, because they in their past they had some bigger, better careers, and now those careers aren't really what they used to be, and they're sort of coming to terms with that with each other, and it just gets kind of bizarre and weird from there. There's plenty of other interesting characters within this movie as well, and I don't even know where to go with this one. Would I recommend Youth? This is one of those movies I would say, if you're thinking like, yeah, I think I want to check this out, then see it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie. It kept me entertained. I'll probably never watch it again, although for I don't remember her name. Her scene alone, it's kind of worth seeing. Yeah, again, it wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't anything amazing. It was good. It was a good movie. So I would say if this is one of those films that you're thinking about checking out, maybe you recently picked it up, or you've seen it out and about, and you're like, maybe I should have grabbed that, maybe I shouldn't have. I would say see it. Check it out. You might actually enjoy this one. But it didn't really necessarily blow me away. It was just kind of, it was mediocre. It was okay. It was an all right watch. Good cast. Decent story. So Youth. See it if you want to. Oh man, and then I checked out Zombieland Double Tap, and this was great. I was a little hesitant and a little cautious going into it because I enjoyed the first Zombieland so much. I really, that movie was so much fun. I just enjoyed the heck out of the first Zombieland. So when they said they were doing a sequel, part of me was like, all right, awesome, I'm on board. I like the first one so much, I can't wait to see the second one. But the other part of me was like, God, are they going to screw this up? Please don't don't use the same jokes over and over again, which they did to an extent, but not enough that it was bothersome. But I had a fear it was just going to be like a rehashing of the first movie, like sometimes they do with sequels, where it's just like, oh, I feel like I've already seen this movie or something like that. But they changed it up enough in this one that I felt like it was a true continuation of the story from the first movie, and it was really well done. I mean, there were some people out there who said they didn't like this movie, and I don't get it. People out there who said, oh, I love the first movie, I hated the sequel. I don't understand it. It felt like a great, true continuation. I loved all the characters. They brought some new characters into this. It was really, really, really enjoyable, and oh my gosh, I want to see a third movie. I'm really hoping this should be a trilogy. I'm hoping to God that Zombieland gets a third movie, because if it's as strong as the first and second movie, I am completely on board, and I feel that this movie is deserving of the trilogy trilogy treatment. That's the word I'm going to use. Phrase I'm going to use. So yeah, this was great. Again, Zombieland Double Tap. Yes, see this movie. If you like the first one, I don't see why you would not like the second one. I don't understand, again, why some people didn't like it. I loved it. It was great. And keep on watching when the credits roll, because Bill Murray's back. Sort of. It's kind of a flashback, but it's so good. The movie's worth it for just the... if for any reason you're like, I do not want to see this movie, I will never watch this movie, I hate Zombieland, I don't want to see Zombieland 2, or just, I don't know, for some reason you don't want to see this, maybe Google at least the Bill Murray parts in the credits. It's worth seeing alone. So anyway, Zombieland Double Tap. Yeah, see this movie. I don't get why some people didn't like it. I thought it was brilliant. Now here's a movie I know you guys have been just like on the edge of your seats for me to review. The Lost Pyramid. Yeah, I watched this History Channel documentary and wasn't that good. I honestly thought maybe they have found some gigantic pyramid or something like that. And no, they find one that was like dismantled, and they're trying to figure out like whose it was and what it looked like and stuff, and it was kind of interesting, but not what I thought. It just, I don't know. I as much as I love History Channel documentaries, especially ones on Egypt, I'm usually fascinated by Egyptian documentaries. This one was okay. It didn't blow me away. I watched and I was like, that was all right. It was okay. I learned some stuff, but in the end, I will probably never watch this documentary again. So if documentaries are your thing, if Egyptian documentaries are your thing, if you love your age like I do, this is one to, I guess, check out if you feel like it. All right, back to the movies. We've got Victoria and Abdul, and this was a good true story, or at least based on a true story. I'm sure some liberties were taken as per usual, but still good story about Queen Victoria befriending just an Indian fellow here, Abdul, and that's all he is, an Indian fellow. He's a clerk who works basically for the British government, because this is back when Britain still ran or still controlled India. He goes to the Queen's Jubilee to present her with something. That's all he's there to do. Basically, you got to go and we need somebody to present something to the Queen. You do it, okay? And then from there, she befriends him, gives him like a place to live, invites his whole family over, appoints him to this like high-ranking, sort of like a higher-ranking official, like in the Queen's, I don't know, monarchy, the government, whatever you want to call it. I'm not British, I don't know, but gives him kind of a high ranking. And of course, racism is still quite rampant over in Europe, and Indian people are kind of looked down upon because, you know, they rule the Indians and whatnot, so people aren't too happy about that. People who are in the Queen's circle aren't too thrilled about her doing that. There are some lies and deceit and some things that are found out that aren't so good, but in the end they kind of stay friends and whatnot. So it's a good story. Yeah, I would recommend it. I mean, it's nothing amazing. I wouldn't say this movie, like, you know, was anything overly grand. It's not like I'm gonna watch this movie over and over and over again. I would watch it again if, like, you know, a couple years from now, my wife was like, I want to see this movie. I'd say, okay, let's give it another watch. Sure, but I don't think I'll be watching this one again anytime soon. It wasn't that good, but still, it was an enjoyable movie. I would recommend this one. I did enjoy it. It certainly kept me entertained. Again, all based on a true story. So yeah, Victoria and Abdul, I would say, yeah, see this one. I mean, it's something you have to see, but it's worth seeing. All right, one more movie, Bent, and this one I did not care very much for. You would think it'd be a very interesting story since it's about homosexuals during Nazi-occupied Germany. Like, that sounds like it could tell a really interesting story based around that. But this movie just didn't go anywhere. It starts off kind of week where they're being like homosexuals are being round up and they're on the run, and our main character, he's got this boyfriend, or at least this love interest anyway, who's a complete idiot and basically gets them caught. That drives me nuts when a character is so stupid and the other character just kind of goes along with it. I would be like, boop, no, get away, you're dumb, you go get caught, I'm gonna keep going this way. But so of course he gets caught, and there's a pretty intense scene where something horrible happens to the love interest. So I mean, there's that. But once they actually get to the concentration camp, it really leads to nothing, because our main character meets this other guy, and they sort of they kind of don't like each other at first. Well, our main character's kind of being friendly to our other character, and he's not really having it, but then they sort of strike up this kind of love interest sort of thing going on, which again could be an interesting story. All right, two men falling in love and in a German Nazi concentration camp. All right, it could go somewhere, right? No, they just kind of move rocks around and they talk, and it just I was kind of bored out of my mind watching this movie. It just, in my opinion, it did not tell a very good story. It's a very interesting topic that I would like to see retold in some very, you know, interesting, enjoyable way. This movie was just boring. So interesting topic, very controversial topic, but just I don't know, told horribly. So Bent, I'm gonna say this is one you don't need to see. It was just incredibly boring, and I don't see myself ever watching that movie again. So, all right, guys, there you go. That's it. Ending strong. All right, so like I said, there you guys go. That's the stuff I watched like 2 months ago. I know, I'm so far behind on these review videos, but I just didn't quite know if I wanted to do them or not. But no, I'm going to be doing them and a little bit more frequently over the next couple of weeks. I mean, with what's going on in the world right now, that probably makes sense for me to do some of these videos now rather than later. So yeah, I'll be doing some more of these, trying to get myself caught back up with more recent viewings since I am so far behind, and hopefully I'll do better reviewing more recent stuff since it'll actually be, you know, more fresh in my brain. That's the thought anyway. So all right guys, there you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below and a thumbs up if you did. That would really be great. So again guys, like I said, that's it. So as always, thank you all so much for checking out this video. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Why not hit that notification bell? Because that's a thing you gotta apparently do now. And also check down below for links to Patreon, Spreadshirt, and the Cinema Sickness store. It came from Cinema Sickness. And I'll see you guys in the next video. So again, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.
Hi guys, just checking in because I just watched Braxton and Crank. So it was a pretty good movie and a pretty not good movie. So it was like in the middle, like eh. But I actually really liked it. It was like one of my favorites. I just pretty liked it like a lot. I liked it because these people were like superheroes, and then there's a robot that crashes. There's an enemy on one side and a good team on the other, and then he's from the bad team, but then he was good. And then after that, like this one found this one, which okay. I really liked it because it was kind of good, and I don't know what to do. It's just I really liked it so much. I liked it so much. I just can't. I love it. It's just my best movie in the entire life. I'm like, whoa, that's cool. And then another thing happens. I'm like, okay, that's kind of not good. And then it's just like good, bad, good, just over and over and over. And they're big scenes. And then the good team was actually winning, but the bad team went first. But actually, suddenly there's more of the movie. And actually, they won. They won, and I'm like, yay, they won. Because actually, this was my favorite. Just don't know what to say. I just love this. It's just best. It's just the best. Bye, guys. That was so good.